Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2019 Cadillac XT4. Up front is a 2.0 liter turbocharged inline-4, and down below is a 9-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this XT4 for one main reason. I have driven a lot of Cadillac's compact SUVs in the last couple of months, and so I have a lot to compare this to. I also recently drove an outgoing model of the SRX, which really translated to the XT5, not 4, but we'll still incorporate a little bit, and I've recently driven the new Cadillac Optic. And so we're going to be talking about kind of where Cadillac is, where Cadillac was, and if this is a good car. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 2-liter turbo under the hood. Well, it makes about 237 horsepower and has their active fuel management system, their stop-start system. This is just to please the government. I'm sure if Cadillac had their way, they would have used the 3.6-liter V6 or some other engine. This is to try to push fuel economy. The owner says he averages high 20s, low 30s in this vehicle on a normal given day, and so it actually got better fuel economy than the car he traded this for, which was a Honda HR-V. So he's pretty happy with that engine. It might not be the most beast of an engine to carve up a canyon, but it does the job, and it moves the vehicle forward, and we'll talk about that it's gasoline powered a little bit later on. Like I said, paired to it is a 9-speed automatic transmission. Again, relatively unimaginative and uninspiring like the engine. Nothing really new here. Not a new page nor chapter in the book of Cadillac. It works. It's fine. And last but not least, this XT4 is all-wheel drive. However, you can put it in and out of all-wheel drive, which is going to help you save at the pump, so you're not running all 4 wheels all the time. How does it feel to drive the XT4? It's nice. It's a nice driving experience, and honestly, the biggest benefit of this vehicle is that it sits a little bit higher off the ground than its other offerings like the CTS or ATS. This is an easier car to get in and out of, and with Cadillac's aging demographic, this was perfect for them. My grandparents had 2 XT5s because they were easy to get in and out of, so that's the same sort of thing here. Ride quality's good enough. It's still a compact SUV, so it still gets a little bit twitchy over bumps, but it's still a Cadillac at the same time, so it has those nice attributes as well. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 physical gauges and a screen. Off to the left is my tachometer and fuel. Off to the right is speedometer and coolant temperature. And then, of course, we get that screen in the center, giving me a whole bunch of information that's really nice to see. GM, just as a whole, has always been very, very good about giving you a lot of information in their vehicles, and the XT4 is no different. On the steering wheel on the left, we do have our adaptive cruise as well as our heated steering wheel. And off to the right, we have our selectors, skip track, volume, things like that. Off to the left of the steering wheel, we do get a climate vent as well as our power parking brake and gauge dimmer switch. And moving on to the door, we have lock and unlock, 2 levels of memory seats, power mirrors, and power windows. Moving into the center, we have 2 climate control vents and our touchscreen radio. This does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I think it works well. I think it feels modern enough. I'm sure in the coming years, this will feel more and more outdated, but here in 2025, I think it functions still pretty well, and it doesn't feel like an Atari glued to the center of the car. We do get a backup camera. I wish it had better quality, better clarity, but that's okay. Then we have our home button in the center and our physical climate controls. Absolutely love to see these physical climate controls, dual zone climate, all of that goodness. And then we have buttons for our heated seats, parking sensors, hazard switch, and lane keep assist. Then we do get an openable cubby with USB-A, USB-C, and a 12-volt outlet. So Cadillac doing a little bit of future proofing back in 2019 here with the USB-C. Love to see that. Then we do have the shifter off to the left. I love that it's a traditional shifter. Volume, skip track, and some navigational tools for the center screen. And off to the right, we have cup holders. They are tiny. They do not fit the big friggin' bottle, unfortunately, but I can't say I'm surprised. Then we do have our traction control off, our auto start stop on and off, and our drive mode button for all-wheel drive, tour, and sport. So you do get a little bit of customization here in the XT4. Then we do have an openable center console, and the seats are heated, power, and memory. They are quite pleasant and what I would expect out of a Cadillac product. I like to see that here. No real complaints. They work, and they're holding me in the car. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2019 Cadillac XT4, and a couple of things to note. First of all, my knees are hitting the seat in front of me, but I will say my seat's a little bit further back than usual. I want a little bit more space today. And so with that, it's a little bit more cramped than normal. We do have 2 climate vents. We have USB-C, USB-A, and heated seats back here. We also have a fold-down center console. What I would have liked to have seen was an outlet, like an actual plug outlet. I just got out of the ATS from 2018, and that had a plug outlet for its back seats, even though it was a coupe. So for this, I would have liked to have seen that, but not the end of the world. Overall, it's a relatively pleasant place to be. The driver could be nicer and move up a little bit, and I would be a lot more comfortable. Headroom is pretty good. I'm 5'11", not a small guy. My head's coming very close to the ceiling, but not touching quite yet. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Right around the back of the XT4, double click it here on the key fob, and we do have a power operated tailgate. Love to see that here. Once we are in here, we do have this very nice Cadillac badge on the floor mat. We do have a 12-volt outlet up over here, LED lights, all of that goodness, and we can come under here, and we do get a spare tire. So very, very nice to see all of that. Obviously, the XT5 is going to have more space than this, but honestly, I can't really complain about this. I like this a lot, and I think it works really, really well. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I do like the look of the XT4. I think it's more handsome than the XT5 was. I like this sort of grittier, a little bit sportier look. Looks a little bit angrier. Looks more like an ATS V on stilts, more so than like a little compact SUV. I like that look. These are optional sport wheels. So this particular XT4 didn't roll off the factory line with these wheels on it, but they were an option, and the owner has fitted them afterwards. So you could have gotten one in 2019 with these wheels, just not this exact one. Got it. And overall, I like it. I think it looks good. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving another Cadillac XT4? Because the last one that I drove, that's when the XT4 was actually still in production. Here in 2025 was actually the final model year for the XT4, and honestly, they didn't really care about it the last 3 years. They let the sales be sales, and they didn't really update it. If you want to buy one, sure, you could buy one, but you know, whatever. Well, I like this car, but I like this car retrospectively, meaning now given Cadillac's current landscape and Cadillac's future and American car future and just automotive future, I like this. First of all, like I said, it has heated seats, adaptive cruise, USB-C, Apple CarPlay, a backup camera. It has all of the modern essentials. It works well enough for all of that. It has a Bose sound system. I'm going to be comfy in this car for a long time. Now looking at Cadillac's current lineup, they offer the Optic, Lyriq, Vistic, and Escalade IQ. Now they still offer the traditional Escalade, and as of now, the CT4 and CT5, but those are going away. Cadillac is pushing for an all-electric future. And there's cool things that come with that for sure, but it is a departure from this vehicle. And so I found myself thinking about this car and saying at least a lot. Meaning, at least this still has a gas engine. I would have liked to have seen the 3.6 liter V6 in this, a little bit more power, a little bit more torque, but at least it's still gas powered. This car was built in the Fairfax assembly plant down in Kansas. I could say, well, at least it's still built in America. A lot of Buicks are being built in China, and I'm not sure that Cadillac isn't going to move that way at some point. A lot of companies are starting to outsource. And I'm sure as time goes on with the new Cadillac Optic and the Optic V that I recently drove, I'm sure at that point I'm going to say, well, at least I get to drive my own car. At least I don't have to use the autonomous mode. And I'm sure down the line I'm going to say, well, at least I got to own that car. Now we can only lease them from the government. environment. And maybe after that we could say, well, at least I got to leave my own house with my Cadillac. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but that's sort of how this feels like it's going. With every generation, the cars are getting a little bit worse, and I feel like this is a cliff overlooking the ocean of electricity. At least I get to use fossil fuels. At least I could fill this up at any gas pump in any city in the world. At least I don't have to fidget with different plugs. At least I don't have to upgrade my garage just to charge my own vehicle. At least I don't have to worry about the cold sucking the battery life out of this car. At least I'm not paying out the nose for this thing. The optic starts in the mid-50s. At least I still have this car. At least I can still drive this car, and at least you can still go buy a 25 model year. If you're watching this in 26 or 27, you still have the opportunity to have one with a warranty. This car was purchased 2 years ago, so 2023, and it still had its 2019 warranty. For a time now on, for the next couple years, you could still buy one of these with relative ease of mind that it's going to be able to be fixed when it needs maintenance. At least you still have that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Franco for letting me borrow his XT4 for today's video. He's absolutely wonderful. I've reviewed 2 of his previous vehicles as well. He's a huge asset to the channel and just a good person. But at least you guys stayed to the end, so I hope at least you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and at least subscribe if you really want to. Take care, guys.